Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Network 216 production of the Faithful Dogs podcast. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Zach DeFranco and Jack Robinson. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Football's back.
Fantastic.
Football's back tomorrow, boys.
Yes, sir.
It is back. It's only been, well, actually, if you think about it, it really hasn't been that long technically since we've had football because we had the USFL and the XFL, but, it's not
Football
the
that
NFL.
matters.
Oh, shots
Wow,
fired.
that's pretty hard.
Shots
That's really
fired.
hard.
Hey,
actually,
look,
man.
look.
Wow,
It
that's
is what it is. It is what
terrible.
it is. It is what it is.
I mean,
That's-
XFL has developed a lot of NFL players last season.
Hey, and a good
I
friend
think-
of our
I-
show, Davion Davis, used the USFL to get back to the NFL.
Yeah.
So,
True.
Jack, let's
That's
not be
true.
a hater now.
I think that the NFL should actually partner with the XFL and USFL because I heard that
Oh,
they already-
backtracking.
No,
they
that's not
already
actually-
did with the XFL. They
Yeah,
already have
XFL they did.
like some type of deal with them.
yeah, because I think I saw that they're thinking about taking their kickoff rules and applying them to the game. That way, we actually might have good kickoffs this time instead of just whatever the heck we have now.
There's some weird deal they have together. I forget exactly what it is, but we could talk. That could be an off-season topic because that would actually be really fun to dig into. But before we get into tonight's show, guys, be sure to drop a like on tonight's video if you are enjoying the show on YouTube. If you are enjoying the show on Twitter or Facebook, we ask that you make your way over to the YouTube channel. And again, it's free to subscribe to the channel. Trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And we can't do that without your help. So please subscribe to the channel. Really helps Network 216 grow. But also we have a Discord that you can join. And that is, you can join for free if you just kind of want to check it out, see a little bit on what content is in the Discord. But also you're able to join for $10 a month. You get betting slips. You get Browns rumors, Cavs rumors, Guardians, Ohio State recruiting updates. You name it, we got it. So be sure to check out the Discord today. Gentlemen, we do have football on Thursday night, but before we get to that, there have been some observations coming from training camp, at least yesterday, that I think we need to discuss a little bit further just because it's causing quite a conundrum on Twitter. And some people freaking out, some telling others they don't need to be freaking out. So it sounds like Myles Garrett, to no one's surprise, has been absolutely dominating training camp. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Myles Garrett is one of the best pass rushers in NFL. You could make the argument he is the best defensive player in the NFL. Could win Defensive Player of the Year this year. So reportedly yesterday, he basically every single time Deshaun Watson dropped back to snap, Myles Garrett was in the backfield. Now, that the reason is he is going up against Jed Wills every play. So how are you guys worried about Jedrick Wills? Because a lot of fans are like, well, if Myles is beating him every snap, well, we're screwed. But then there's the other group that is saying, well, it's just practice. These guys aren't in pads. There's not a whole lot Jed Wills can really do, honestly, because unpadded practices are mainly defensive guys getting to go full force and offensive guys kind of going half speed on the offensive line. So how do you guys feel about what you are hearing from the early parts of training camp?
It's difficult because I get both sides. Like, yeah, it's training camp, so I don't think Jed's going to go full out and tries like every move he has to stop Myles. But at the same time, I don't think Myles is going to go full speed every single play either, especially when, I mean, what's the point if Jed's not going to go full effort in the first place? I mean, I was watching a lot of those reps, and all I remember was that Myles just did basic swim moves. Like, he didn't do anything crazy. He didn't, like, it's not like Jed was just letting him go past him. I mean, Jed was trying to at least, contain him to the best visibility. Myles just got past him every time. And I mean, every single time, everyone around me and everyone else was just like, yep, he got him. And it's just like, what's the point of the rep as an offensive lineman if you're not going to at least try? And I get it. Myles is one of the best linemen in the NFL. It's hard to guard him out on any individual play, but Jed didn't look good on like any of these reps at all. Like, every single time Deshaun dropped back, it would have been a sack, and if it was an actual game. And again, I understand that obviously Jed's not going to go full force, but he has to at least exert some efforts for it to actually seem like a logical play development or anything. Otherwise, Miles just goes back there, says, I would have sacked him, and just walks away. And it's like, what a wasted rep for both players.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not just that, like the offense versus defense, like reps. It's when you're doing one-on-ones too, you want to win some reps as an offensive lineman. Yeah, I know you're going against Myles Garrett, but those are, for the most part, full go, even in just shells. So you want to win some reps. And you're going into year 4 now, as you know, this is supposed to be your team's future at left tackle, supposedly. I get it, it's Myles Garrett, but you're also the starting left tackle protecting the franchise quarterback. You're going to want to win some of those reps. You're going to want to show, Bill Callahan and his offense that, yeah, I can get paid and be your left tackle here for a long time. And what I saw and what I was told and what I was sent, it did not look good. And it's very concerning going into year 4.
I'm basically at the standpoint of, it's you never want to hear things like that, but we don't know how he looked in Greenbrier. I mean, guys have bad practices all the time. And the reality is, in practice, especially with no pads, when you're practicing, you're practicing. The goal isn't to look fantastic every single play. A lot of practice of what it is, you're learning something. And you know what? Myles Garrett is the best defensive end in the NFL. I would love to hear that Jed Wills is putting up a fight against them. But the thing that is going to happen from going against Myles Garrett every single play, and probably will go against Zadarius Smith, I imagine, at some point, because Jim Schwartz will switch up sides. It is going to make Jed Wills better, regardless if he gets burnt every single play or not. Going against that type of talent is only going to make a player better. The things that we see at practice, guys, we can't. It's tough because we do it on a positive spectrum, and I'm as guilty as anyone of it, and I need to tone it down a little bit with what I'm seeing at practice and getting too much excited. But at the same time, we also can't necessarily freak out a lot with what we're seeing in practice. That's one day. We don't know what's happening the other days because we're not there every single day. So it's tough.
I understand that, man. And I totally get what Lawrence is saying, that it's a overreaction. Because I totally get it that, yeah, it's training camp. They don't want to hit each other too hard. They don't want to, do something that could possibly cause some sort of injury in any potential way. But it's not just this practice for Jed Wills. It's like a series of his career as it currently stands. I remember hearing on the radio on the way back, Andrew Barry was talking with Nick Wilson from 92.3. They were talking about how he thought that last year was Jed's best year, which I do not agree with. I don't think a lot of people would say that he's made a massive step forward in his progression over the last 4 years. So I think a lot of people are looking at it like, how much has he improved? And then when you have a practice like this, where it's just one of the main things that people always complain about is his effort. And so when his effort doesn't look very high in training camp in any capacity, and especially when it's in against Myles Garrett, who he's been going up against for basically every year he's been here, and you again, Myles is just doing swim routes. I get that you can't hit him, but you got to at least try to contain him in other ways, just for a play, one time. But Myles has the quarterback every time.
You have to try to win some reps. I don't care if it's half go. I don't care. Show that you can win some reps, even against Myles Garrett. I don't care if it's no pads, half pads. I don't care. You have to try to give some sort of effort to win some reps. You can't just go out there and be like, oh, okay, I'm going against Myles Garrett. Okay, I'm just going against TJ Watt. I'm sorry. No, you can't have that, dude. Yes, Tyler, your point is valid. It is going to make him better, but also that's your left tackle protecting Deshaun Watson. Do you want to hear every day, possibly for the remainder of training camp, that, oh, he's just getting destroyed by Zadarius Smith, by Myles, and the only people he can really contain are Alex Wrights? No.
But here's the thing,
hear
guys.
Some positivity. You want to hear him. If the storyline was Jed Wills and Myles Garrett went back and forth and made each other better, dude, this is not even a conversation we're having today other than nothing but positivity.
But why is it we're only singling out Jed Wills when it's consistently I'm seeing, the Browns' defensive line was in the backfield? Why is it no one else? If Deshaun Watson is dropping back in practice and being sacked every single play, how do we know that that's all Jed Wills? How do we know it's not the rest of the offensive line too? Because it sounds like from what I've heard in training camp and what I've seen, Deshaun Watson's dropping back and the dude doesn't have any time to throw the football. But again, if you're not in pads, as an offensive lineman, there's not much you can do anyway because you don't have pads. That's like offensive linemen already almost kind of need, and you can see it when you watch games, especially left and right tackles. They seem to get a tiny bit of a jump every single snap. They need that because the defensive ends are coming so fast to them. And now in practice, these guys don't have pads on. So, like, because I get what your guys are saying. I need Jed Wills to win. I agree with that. But how do we know also Jack Conklin? Like, what do we know about Jack Conklin? What do we know about how Wyatt Teller looks? Like, that's the other thing that we're not hearing. We're seeing Jed Wills, yeah. But how's the rest of the offensive line looking? Because when I see videos, Deshaun Watson's dropping back, they're touching him, and then he's throwing the football. So clearly, it's not just Jed Wills. It's the entire offensive line.
Well, I think the thing is that for the defensive linemen especially, I think it's partially like, I guess if we're looking at the rep, it's more obvious on the edges, obviously, because we're from the angle that you're watching it at. It's easier to see Myles Garrett line up and come around the edge and get in the backfield. And again, it's mostly, I think for a lot of people, it's just the I guess the repertoire and the way that we've seen Jed carry himself on and off the field in regards to his effort, that now people have him under a microscope. So they're going to look at him much more critically every single practice and really gauge like how committed he is to the position, how well is he progressing every single year, every single practice. And sure, is it unfair? I can say that it's definitely probably a little bit unfair, but also at the same time, if you are a left tackle and you're expecting to get paid left tackle money, you need to be able to make these progressions. And yeah, is it unfair? Probably, but a lot of things are unfair. A lot of judgment against these NFL players is unfair. But I think that for Jed, especially just because of the relationship that Browns fans have with him, I think that he is getting unfair scrutiny, but I still think that he needs to at least have some practices where it's going to be like, oh yeah, Jed won that practice.
Yeah.
Also, Rick, thank you, by the way, for the donation. I want you to know
Rick.
we're not ignoring the fact that you did that. So thank you very much for that. Anyway, sorry, Zach.
No, I mean, there are pads though. If you go watch some of these videos, they're wearing pads, bro. They're wearing shells. Like they weren't the first day of training camp though in Berea. But they're saying like they weren't even wearing shells first day.
No, I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah.
They were wearing shells. Okay,
yeah.
it didn't look like they were wearing much of anything.
And I'm just saying, man, you got to see some better reps out of him this year. Like this is a do or die year. I think that's why Jed Wills is being brought into this, like this spotlight on him is because he's going to be under a microscope all season. This is his do or die year for the Cleveland Browns. So you got to see him win some of these reps against some of the best defensive ends in the league. That's just his position he plays.
Yeah. It's correct. I just think that sometimes, it's so easy to pile up on Jed Wills, just like it is for Anthony Schwartz, but that's a whole different subject. It's just the entire offensive line in training camp from what just videos I've seen, because I've seen people point out to me when we share videos like, well, this guy would have been tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Deshaun Watson actually was sacked there, but they let him throw the football. When these guys aren't in pads, it's a defense's advantage all day long. Because essentially there's not much the offensive line can really do. That's why you see kind of like Deshaun Watson maybe not going 100% full go when he drops back to pass sometimes because the play is basically dead anyway. So it does make it tough. There's no doubt about that. So we had some other news that came out here to begin the week, and that was that the Browns were hosting defensive tackle Shelby Harris on a visit. Now, what's hilarious is we have not heard a single thing about this, like as far as he's not in town from all accounts at this point, but we didn't hear how the visit went, nothing. Mary Kay Cabot didn't say anything. The only thing she said is that it sounds like before he visited the Browns that he visited the Denver Broncos and that she said he might be doing a free agent tour and not ready to make a decision yet. At the same time, that was about all she said on Sports for CLE. She didn't really give any other information other than that. So I have to ask you guys, Do you think the Browns sign Shelby Harris? And if not, do you see them addressing the defensive tackle position at all, or are they just going to go through the preseason and see what happens from there?
That's tough. I mean, I personally think that there's still a chance. I know his family lives in Denver still, correct? So maybe he wants to go back there and finish his career in Denver. I would love Shelby Harris here. I mean, that would just, in my opinion, complete our defense line for the season. But I do believe that for the Rainier training camp and preseason, they could still be like, okay, let's see what we have and go from there. It is weird, though, to me that there was no news on anything other than he was visiting, he was going to, practice, and then nothing. It just kind of went ghost. I don't know what happened there. I expected at least something, like he left without a deal or something that had come out of this, but that's news to me. Tyler Demiricay said that. So yeah, he might be going on a tour. I truly think he might want to go back to Denver, though.
The thing that doesn't make sense about Denver, he wasn't happy that they included him in that deal anyway. Mm-hmm. So him going back there would be real. So when she said that, I was surprised, and the only reason I know she said that is because I was on right after her that day. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised because I was like, why would he want to go somewhere that he wasn't happy with how they handled with including him in that Russell Wilson trade anyway? So if he has family there, then I guess. But after the organization did that to you, I would just be a little surprised. I don't know. But also, he could be trying to drive up his value for all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well could be.
I mean, I would love a Shelby Harris on this. I think that if especially, I mean, obviously we've been looking for another vet DT, and especially after losing Perion, you knew that we probably want to get another guy in here that has some reps at the pro level and is really can fill in that hole. And I think that if you get a guy like this, I mean, I think that at that point it's like, okay, your defensive tackle room is set, your defensive line room is set. And I think that, they, and like Zach was saying, that we have time to really figure out what our room is and then make that kind of decision. But I do think that the fact that there wasn't any sort of, publication about his visit to the Browns outside of like a couple of particular tweets that came out, I don't know exactly how much interest is on each side. I would say that it's probably neutral at best, but I'm not really expecting anything just yet. I'm sure that once we get, a couple of weeks down the line, then we'll have a better idea of whether or not, Shelby Harris is a target for the Browns at the moment.
It sounds like they've been in communication with him for a few weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he is trying to just drive his price up a little more. I'm not sure what he would even be looking for. He'd probably get like a 1-year deal from us.
He probably gets about a 1-year deal, $4 million, $6 million in incentives. That's what I had to guess. At the high end of that is maybe closer to 5 with incentives around $8 million.
Yeah,
that's what I have to. I mean, he's not going to get a ton of money. He's still a free agent, like for a reason. I don't really know what the situation if he's a guy that's waiting until it gets closer to the start of the season to sign, kind of like Ndamukong Suh joined in the middle of the year. I don't know. The whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. It almost makes you wonder if maybe they're waiting until after the Hall of Fame game to do something. I do think he's going to end up signing. I just don't know if that'll be here or what's going to happen because he's a very solid player. I mean, he played well last year and on a line that's not nearly as talented as the Browns. And if you can go into the regular season, have Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, and Zadarius Smith, good luck. Mm-hmm. I mean, I will say, now here's a good question for you guys. You bring in Shelby Harris because someone's the odd man out here. So Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, Siaki Ika are your locks. So that brings down, because they're probably going to keep only 4 D tackles because Zadarius Smith can play inside out. Alex Wright will play inside out. Miles, obviously, from time to time. Who is the odd man out? Jordan Elliott, Tommy Togiai, Maurice Hurst, Tristan Hill.
Man.
Now keep in mind, 3 of those guys are going to be cut. Like, my bad. Yeah, 2 or 3 of those guys are going to be cut anyway. But who's the guy that you think now was on this roster, but now could find himself out if the Browns bring in Shelby Harris?
I think it would be Jordan Elliott, personally.
Yeah, I was leaning towards Tommy Togiai.
I think the odd man. See, I think Togiai's gone no matter what. Personally,
Yeah,
I think I'd love to add him on
really?
I think they want to add him on the practice squad, but I don't think he's. I don't think he has a chance to make the roster. You're going to see him probably play a lot tomorrow to try and make the roster. He's got to show you something. The thing about Togiai, I like him, former Buckeye. He left college too early, was not fully developed. Then he came to the NFL and was expected to contribute. It was a disaster waiting to happen, unfortunately. I think the guy, to me, that's the odd man out, and it really pains me to see, because I think the cuts are going to be Tommy Togiai, Tristan Hill. And then I think if you're looking at another guy, and it pains me to say it because I like the guy, I would root for him to be here. I think it would be Hurst. I really he's not guaranteed much money. Keep in mind, Jordan Elliott has been the one Jim Schwartz has been starting so far in team sessions next to Dalvin Tomlinson throughout training camp. I don't know. I think Jordan Elliott would make this roster again somehow, some way.
I wonder if I mean, that is true. I wonder if Schwartz sees a way to, get through to him a little bit more. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, Tyler. Yeah, I didn't really think of Hurst. Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I mean, if Schwartz can make it work, then who cares, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, it would be Maurice Hurst is such a great story, and I honestly think if healthy, he would make this roster. Biggest question though is his health, and he's not unlikely he's going to be on the practice squad. If you can put him on the practice squad, good luck. I think some team would pick him up if he ends up performing well in preseason and shows that he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
But that's the only problem with bringing in Shelby Harris is a guy like Maurice Hurst would be gone. I really do think they only take 4 D tackles, though. But we'll have to see what happens with that. So now as we're moving on to the Hall of Fame game, as expected, starters aren't going to play. Majority of even the first and second team might not even play. So this is going to be interesting because your starting quarterback is a guy that we've never seen take the field. Not a rookie, though. Kellen Mond is going to be starting for the Browns tomorrow night, which surprises me a little that he is starting over Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So what are you guys wanting to see out of Kellen Mond? This is a guy the Browns claimed off waivers, actually at the end of preseason last year, and kept him protected on the roster the entire season.
I'm just expecting to see a lot of the stuff that we're probably going to end up seeing in camp, just more of the same plays. And, I think this is really just them figuring out who is going to be the backup moving forward, or just get an idea of who really kind of fits what they want for the offense. Because obviously we all know that Josh Dobbs is the backup this year, but next year, once his guaranteed money rolls over, then either him or Dorian Thompson-Robinson are going to be the backup. So, I'm just expecting kind of to see a light version of a super light version of the offense. Them just trying to, really see what they have in Kellen Mond. And then obviously in the second half, see what they have with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, see who really fits who fits the mold of the team in terms of what they're trying to do with the offense and the weapons. The weapons, I say that it's like their third team wide receivers and Jerome Kelly. So I'm not expecting a lot. Not Jerome Ford.
Or John Kelly.
John Kelly. Gosh. Oh my gosh.
Go Browns, NPC.
But yeah, I'm not expecting anything crazy.
No, it's literally week 0 of the NFL season. Yeah. So, for Kellen Mond, it's like his first time suiting up in the Browns uniform. So, you don't really know what to expect. I think this is basically the battle of who's going to be your third string quarterback going into the season. Mm-hmm. And from then on out, it's okay playing for your next contract. So, personally, I think they're just going to bring DTR. I think it's set in stone personally. So, yeah, I'm not really expecting too much craziness. I'm more looking forward to watching the second half and watching DTR play.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be very exciting.
Jack, were you basically implying that you think Kellen Mond has a chance to make the roster?
I mean, I think he might if he really lights it up and he shows that he really can be a suitable backup. Because because we've been talking about it for a while, just about like the whole Josh Dobbs backup quarterback situation, like who fits long term. And I mean, obviously Kellen Mond probably would be that guy, but the fact that DTR came in, he really has to come out and like show something, because otherwise it's just going to be DTR's job, and I don't know what Kellen Mond's role on the team is. But I mean, I don't think it's impossible for him to stay on the team, but
I mean, unless DTR just sucks, it absolutely looks awful. And it's not a shot at Kellen Mond, but when you drafted DTR,
it was basically over. But
again, Kellen Mond, to me, man, like I don't think he has a shot.
It's never 100% in either direction. There's always a sliver of a chance that
then you're giving him like the minuscule.
Now listen. I'm not gonna lie, right? I'm not gonna lie. Josh Dobbs had some really good passes at practice, and DTR had some really good deep shots that were dropped by Anthony Schwartz. Not gonna
wait. Time out. Time out. You said DTR had some deep shots?
Yeah, he had a deep pass to Anthony Schwartz that got dropped. It was like individual pass. Yeah, it was individual.
That's shocking because DTR, one of his biggest weaknesses is his arm strength.
I know. It was weird. We were sitting in the bleachers, and he had a deep shot. I don't know exactly why it happened, but it did, and Anthony Schwartz sailed right over his head because he stopped and slowed down for no reason.
He's too fast for his own good.
Oh man. But Kellen, I didn't really. There was nothing really memorable about his performance that I saw. Like Josh Dobbs and DTR saw some good plays. I saw some good passes. Kellen Mond, I just don't really remember. Maybe that was just me not paying attention, but but I mean,
maybe you just need to keep your eye on him.
Maybe I do. He does kind of blend in with all the rest of the guys.
I'll give Kellen Mond this. He is a young quarterback. He did some things at Texas A&M that proved he was a decent athlete. I don't know. Maybe it is a situation, kind of like MPC said, that he lights it up and you trade him. That's honestly your ideal scenario right there. You don't even have to make a cut, and then you can just trade him for a 2025 7th-round pick or something like that.
Yeah.
No shot. Mon is on. I mean, Jack's right. I guess you have a 0.1% chance. If the guy comes out and looks like, man, I don't know. I don't know who to compare Kellen Mond to because there's just no one out there.
Well, he's wearing 7, so Michael Vick.
Maybe. Sure. If Kellen Mond comes out and looks like Michael Vick, then I guess he makes the roster. I don't know.
Deshaun has some competition, bro.
Oh, jeez. That was Seal when they drafted DTR. Correct.
Yes.
So that brings it to the next part of it. What do you guys really want to see coming out of DTR in the second half of the game? I know for me personally, I want to see that mobility showed off a little bit. One of the things he was good at UCLA, he's a running quarterback. It's nothing against him as a thrower. He's a short, intermediate passer. He doesn't have deep arm strength. I mean, I know you said you saw it, Jack, but one of the big things, his weakness, is that accuracy throwing the ball deep down the field. I want to see him. I want to see a little bit of this new look offense because I know we're going to see some of it. I want to see DTR, and I want to see how quick he is, and I just want to see the mobility a little bit. I don't expect them to throw a lot. I want to see the mobility.
Yeah, extend plays. Keep plays alive. Like you said, Tyler, use your feet because you've seen that in practice a lot too. I mean, we saw clips that are like, wow, this dude can move. So extend plays, keep plays alive. Just go out there and have fun, play football, dude. It's nothing really even too serious right now. It's the Hall of Fame game. Just go out there and have fun and just, play to your strengths.
Yeah, I want to see if they have any how many designed run plays they have for him. Like how many things they get him immediately, give him the ball, and they have him moving around. getting some trickery with guys in motion, just seeing what he can do with the ball in his hands when he's a designated runner. I'd love to see some stuff like that, because maybe that could be like an inkling of what we see maybe with Deshaun. Obviously, Deshaun's not, the most mobile quarterback in the league, but he definitely is elusive. So I think that would be cool to see, just maybe some schemes for what they've been thinking of with Deshaun, with DTR.
Yeah, I mean, with DTR, like, again, his strength is running the football. So how many carries does he get in this game is what I really want to see, because I think they can use that to an advantage. Having a mobile quarterback in preseason is how you go undefeated. Truly.
Yeah.
True. I think that he could probably get, 3 or 4 at least, probably. I think that's a good amount.
Hey, I need it. I need DTR and Demetric Felton in that backfield, and bring back those UCLA glory days. Not that they were that good, but
that'd be awesome.
They were 2 of their best players though. So I want to see it. I really do. All right.
So I'm not expecting too much out of the offense in terms of what we're seeing in training camp, but do you think with DTR or Mon, do you think we see any pistol looks at all?
Mon, you might, because he's starting the game, so you might. Here's the thing. You're going to see a lot more shotgun, but whether we see pistol, whether we see speed option, read option, remains to be seen. I would be a little bit surprised if we saw some, because now with Watson, when he plays week 2, because I would put some money that he's playing week 2, I would say we will see it, because you have to. You got to get familiar in a game setting with the offense. Have to.
Yeah, and a new offense as well. But a lot of people will tend to be on the side of don't show what you're going to show in the regular season and preseason. So that's why I was asking.
It's tough, dude. It's tough from the standpoint of you got to get work in. Like, you're doing this new offense. I get you don't want to tip your hand, but a lot of your practices have been without pads. Like, you gotta do something. I'm seeing a lot of comments in here, by the way. Is Jerome Ford going to play? It sounds like he's going to play a little bit. He'll probably start the game, I would imagine. I think Felton still has a chance. His rookie year catch and score was electric. It was. I will say this. They're putting him back at running back, and I do think he's, contrary to what other people believe, I think he has a chance to make this roster. I do. Jack, so Tony Rizzo was saying that Demetric Felton returned a kick return yesterday. Is that true?
I didn't see it, but it might have just been on a different part of the field from where I was watching. Because I think
they say he took a kick return 100 yards. Okay, they said he took a kick return 100 yards. So I wasn't sure. And then Connie also says, I like Demetric Felton. I've seen some real flashes of genuine talent there. I think the problem is they just tried to put him in a position that he doesn't play. Like, he might have a skill set, but it just doesn't work out. So I want to see I'm serious. I want to see what he does with DTR. I really do. Because I think that we could see the best of Demetric Felton. And again, he's probably playing against second, third teamers. But if you can see that he just looks elusive as a runner, making guys miss, able to make some plays, it's a guy I want to keep on the roster.
Exactly.
I want that as my third running back. That's how I feel personally. Going into this Hall of Fame game, who are some guys that you are excited to see play? I saw MPC mention Dalen Baldwin, and I'm glad he mentioned Dalen Baldwin because Alex Van Pelt, Browns offensive coordinator, mentioned Dalen Baldwin as someone that has really stood out so far throughout training camp. And I think it's important to note about Dalen Baldwin, the Browns added him to the practice squad last year, and he actually had some game reps and looked like a decent player. So who are some guys that you want to see? Maybe not necessarily see, or guys you're looking forward to just seeing how they perform tomorrow night?
Have we seen an official roster yet? I don't see it anywhere.
Yeah, there is actually.
Yeah, they released a depth chart, but it's got all the guys on it you would expect, but you have to just...
I'm just kind of assuming guys like in the bottom second team and third team are like the starters, and then...
Is like Whipler playing?
Whipler will play. DeJuan
my
Jones.
bad. My bad.
No, you're fine. DeJuan Jones will play. James Hudson. I expect a lot of DeJuan Jones and James Hudson. I expect Luke Whippler to play a ton. Luke Whippler might play the entire game, honestly.
Yeah.
Actually not true. Nick Harris is on the roster. Siaki Ika will play.
I'm
Cedric Tillman?
I'm super excited about Cedric Tillman. Like
Tillman is 100% probably going to play and get a good amount of snaps.
He had that catch along the sideline, that diving catch going out of bounds during the 2-minute. That was a great catch. I mean, and he just looks comfortable out there. He looks
the part.
He is huge, man. Like he almost looks like a tight end, like how tall he is and how lanky he is. I took a couple of pictures while I was there, and one of the things that I noticed was just like you put him up against like even like a couple of the other receivers, and he's like a good couple inches on a couple of those guys. I mean, he's just tall, he's fast, he's got good hands. He just looks comfortable out there, honestly. Like he looks like he knows how he's adjusted to the game a little bit. Obviously it's just practice, but I just want to see him more because I think that he can be a really big X factor player just in terms of, being like fifth in the wide receiver rotation. I think he can have an impact.
Jack, here's a good question for you because you've seen him, you got to see him in person so far. A lot of people are saying that he is very similar to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Are you getting that impression? I think personally he seems more smooth. He seems to use his body better than Donovan Peoples-Jones did as a rookie. Now, mind you, DPJ was a 6th-round pick and Cedric Tillman's a 3rd-round pick. But are they similar? Do you think one was better than the other? Like, what are your thoughts so far?
Honestly, I think Cedric might be better than DPJ was as a rookie. I think that he's almost like just a little bit further in the progression. Maybe not like second-year DPJ, because I think DPJ took a big step in the second year. But he's definitely further ahead. And I don't know if that's just because maybe they've got a better system or just because Cedric's a 3rd-round pick and he just had a better overall system in college, or it's just his skill set is very similar to DPJ, and he did look kind of similar in terms of like what he's able to do, the way he runs his routes. He was very clean on those routes. So I think that he could definitely fill like a DPJ kind of role. But he's definitely ahead of where DPJ was when we drafted him a couple of years ago.
I'm excited to see him too, man. I really am. I don't know how much we'll see him because this will actually really tell us how they view Cedric Tillman and how they view David Bell. It really will. Now, I do think they're both going to play a decent amount in the preseason because they need reps, I would say. But we're going to see, though, when we get to game 2, whenever we see the first team offense, we're going to see then how do they view Cedric? How do they view David Bell? We're going to finally find that out because I know that's been a big question is where does David Bell stand compared to Cedric Tillman? There are some people that think that David Bell is going to be cut, and personally, I don't see any chance of that happening. I really, unless you guys do, I don't.
I didn't. I don't think after Marquise Goodwin got hurt, I don't think that David Bell's in that big of danger of getting cut anymore.
Yeah,
at least what I think.
I'm not sure about that just yet. That's that one position group that when you're going for.
Here's a good question then, Zach. Who makes it over David Bell? If that does indeed happen, who would make the roster over David Bell?
That's the thing, because I don't think it would be like, Baldwin or anyone like that. So I think David Bell will still make the roster.
I just can't see. Here's my thing is like the reason I don't see David Bell getting cut. There's nobody they're going to one, he's a former 3rd-round pick. And the only reason last year we didn't see much is because he was injured. That's really why. If you look at his separation, he actually did really well. Like 5th highest rookie in separation when he was on the field last year, creating separation. Mm-hmm. I think personally, if they cut him, that would be foolish. Unless he has a Perion Winfrey incident.
Yeah. No, that's not gonna happen. But if they cut him before Schwartz, you might see Brown's Twitter go on fire.
I'll lead it.
It
I'll
might
lead
burn
the
to the ground.
pitchforks.
Bro,
I'll
if they
lead
cut David Bell, I'm gonna be mad. I don't, because here's my thing. I don't understand why. And this is such a topic on Twitter, and I don't really know why people are even. You'll have to make me understand. Why would it even be a thought that they would cut David Bell? That's what I'm trying to understand, because this guy's a former third-round pick. We didn't see a lot of him out of him last year, but it wasn't because he was a bad player. He was injured. And I know you brought in Cedric Tillman. You bring in Elijah Moore. We don't know Marquise Goodwin. We prayers for him. We hope he's healing well. But we don't know his status. What would be the incentive? What would be the reason for them to move on from David Bell so early compared to a guy like Anthony Schwartz, who we know is not an NFL caliber receiver at this time?
I don't think that there's any. I mean, Anthony Schwartz has gotten so many chances to make an impact on the team and be a player that the team can rely on in some capacity. And I mean, other than an end around, what has he really done? Nothing. I mean, really, I'm being genuine. What has he done? He hasn't done anything. David Bell.
Hey, actually, that's time out. Jack, that's not true. In the Greenbrier, he caught a wide open touchdown from Deshaun Watson because there wasn't anyone within 30 feet of him.
So you got a point. You got a point. I take it all back. David Bell's gone. There's no way he makes the roster over Anthony Schwartz. He's got the Greenbrier touchdown. I mean, dude, I just don't understand how they can keep Anthony Schwartz on the team and justify it over David Bell, where David Bell, in terms of just football tangibles, is a better football player. He's a similar draft capital investment, and he has a higher ceiling. In terms of what we've seen from him and what he can be, Anthony Schwartz has shown us nothing other than that he can't catch. That's it. So I mean, honestly, I don't. It's not even a question to me. I don't know how Andrew Berry sees it, but I think that most people would agree that David Bell is the better football player in the future and even right now to keep on this team long term.
Also, MC Lawrence says, big Vols fan, Tillman is a stud, very strong and hard to bring down. He also said DK Metcalf 2.0. Hey, listen, he's not. DK Metcalf's dude's the most incredibly built wide receiver I've ever seen in my life, and that dude's just a freak. Cedric Tillman can actually run routes better than DK. Nothing against DK Metcalf. That dude doesn't run many different routes.
DK Metcalf is
Cedric Tillman can run different routes and actually do a little bit more.
DK Metcalf is a fast tight end, so he can kind of make it.
That's a great analysis, because I would agree with that. Also, Connie agrees. Schwartz can run, but he can't catch.
And if you can't catch, why are you a receiver?
Luxury cardboard. Schwartz making the roster is a bad omen on the season if it happens. I will say this. I think their idea, whether we agree with it or not, their ideal scenario is they keep Schwartz on the practice squad. With these young draft picks, they like to keep on the practice squad if they can. That's just what we've seen.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. Even though he was a third-round pick, I don't think any team's picking him up off waivers. So I think that you can definitely get him on the practice squad.
I just see it now. We tweet out, the Browns have cut Anthony Schwartz. Everyone celebrates.
And then
the Browns have re-signed Anthony Schwartz to the practice squad, and people lose their minds. Bell's floor is higher than Schwartz.
I
agree with it now.
I want to say that's I don't know if that's true, but I haven't seen anything to the contrary. So, you know
what Anthony Schwartz needs, and I truly mean this. I think he needs to go to the USFL and really for real, get that confidence against lesser competition and really I'm telling you, man, those other leagues, it's got good coaching. Go there. He's only 22. That's what we forget. This dude's 22 years old. He has, and I'm being for real, for the best part for his development, he needs to go to a lesser league. He does. And I think try and become a player that way. AB hates cutting his guys. Go run. Funny enough, he
AB
nearly made the Olympic squad.
Yeah, he should have done that. AB does hate cutting
wasn't good
his
enough.
guys. AB does AB does hate cutting his guys, but this is going to be one of those years he's going to have to.
Well, I think the thing
100%.
is
And it's going to be
one of
multiple. It's going to be multiple guys too.
It's one of those things where like he hates cutting his guys, but either he cuts his guy Anthony Schwartz, who hasn't produced anything outside, again, an end around touchdown, cool, or it's David Bell, who is more recent, has higher upside, has already, and just in terms of, again, in the tangibles outside of just speed, obviously, yeah, he's not as fast as Anthony Schwartz, but he's got decent route running, good hands. He has more of the NFL wide receiver intangibles that you want. So that's I don't know. It's going to be hard for Andrew Berry to make the decision, I'm sure, because it's like his kids. He doesn't want to get rid of any of his kids. He loves all of his draft picks. He loves them all so dearly much. But we'll see.
Except Perrion Winfrey.
Except Perrion Winfrey made it easy. So like
I know.
He didn't really have to work.
That's a whole lot. And actually, he did love him. That he kept that dude through.
Way too much.
Dude, just wild. Anyway, so another guy that I really want to see play, and again, and if you guys mention people in the chat, I don't have a picture of every single player, just so we're like aware of that, in case I don't post the player on your screen that you guys want to talk about. But a guy that I really want to see play, and it's understandable, I want to see DeJuan Jones. I want to see how DeJuan Jones looks as an NFL tackle. Now, we know he's not in great shape. Like, as far as now, weight-wise, he is, but just in NFL shape. I mean, this is a big dude we're talking. Like, he's got to get in shape, and I think that's what these preseason games can do. But I think one thing that we're really underestimating, I kind of talked about this on Sports for CLE on Monday, there's going to be a battle for that sixth offensive tackle job between DeJuan Jones and James Hudson. So how do you guys see that playing out? I personally think that James Hudson, if he is just solid, and I don't mean like lights it up, but it's just a solid in the preseason, I think he's going to be your swing tackle this year.
Yeah, 100%. And I believe, was it Callahan or was it Van Pelt that was talking very highly on Hudson recently?
It was Van Pelt. Because Van Pelt spoke yesterday at practice.
Yeah, I don't know. We're hearing nothing but great things about Hudson. So I totally agree with that, Tyler.
Yeah, I think unless, Hudson, unfortunately I'm pretty sure Hudson has an injury history, doesn't he? If I'm remembering right, or am I?
He does, but it hasn't been like anything significant though. I mean, little things.
I mean, Hudson has a lot of experience in the system. He knows Bill Callahan. He's made a lot of strides the last couple of years. Obviously, he started out pretty rough, but he's become a pretty decent, replacement player in terms of like, because whenever we have injuries on the offensive line, he can kind of fill right in. So I think that he definitely is a lock, I would think, unless DeJuan Jones really comes out and shows something that I don't know what Bill Callahan would have to see for him to become like the main guy as a swing tackle. But I mean, James Hudson, I think, kind of has that position locked up for the most part.
Yeah, because and again, I want to see Buckeye succeed for sure. I just think that DeJuan Jones is a guy that is, I hate to say this, is probably going to have to be brought on a little bit slowly. Mm-hmm. And I think the talent's there. I really do. I don't really have a doubt in my mind that the talent is there. I think, though, he's gotten an NFL shape, which that sounds encouraging in itself. But the thing that was a little concerning, if you guys recall, he did have, after the first day of training camp in Greenbrier, he sat out 2 days with an illness. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not saying he wasn't sick. I'm just saying maybe it was from the workouts and everything. I don't know.
A lot of it, he might be on, because he looks like he lost a lot of weight too already.
Mm-hmm.
He could be on a strict diet, and maybe he's, his body's just reacting to that as well in the heat. So it could be something like that as well, man. Seriously.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. And again, I shouldn't speculate. I just know that was one of the big things coming out, was him being in shape, like being in football shape. So
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a big question for you guys because I want to know what you guys think we do at center this year.
Well,
We have
I
three
think it's
centers that I like that could make the route. Obviously, you got Pochik, Harris, and then Whippler. So
I think it's Whippler.
over Harris?
Yeah, because this is why you just drafted Luke Whippler. You took him where you did in the 6th round. I think they're going to bank on Luke Whippler more than Nick Harris because Nick Harris has been injured. And I think what you'll look to see, and I really do think this is what they'll try to do, if Nick Harris looks decent and a team needs a center, I think they're going to try and trade Nick Harris.
So, yeah. And so is Pochik your guard replacement?
Guard?
What?
I mean, my guard replacement is I'm rolling with.
I'm talking about
either
in the future. Pochik no starting center this year, but
correct. I mean, my future center is Luke Whippler. As far as like guard, like are you talking like right guard or like Batonia, like left guarded down the line? Because the guys I'm looking at there, I mean, I'm looking at Drew Forbes or Michael Dunn. And the Browns clearly like both because they've kept both on the roster for as long as they can. I mean, like they've done an effort to keep both of them on the roster. So they clearly see something or else they wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I think Luke Whippler and I think Nick Harris.
It sucks.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't. You can't say he sucks. We haven't seen him play.
No. I didn't say he sucks. I said the situation with Nick Harris sucks because like he was kind of supposed to be the guy who.
Pochik will 100% be your starting center.
They extended him with a contract. He's the starter.
Yes.
But Nick, the situation with Nick Harris really sucks because I remember even last year, like we all thought that he was finally going to be the guy after J.C. Treader was released from the team. And, he's always just kind of been that guy in the shadows waiting for his chance. And he keeps getting hurt. And it really sucks because, we've been wanting to see him for the last couple of years and it just never worked out. But, it's the way the business works. And I mean, Ethan Posich, he came in and he excelled. So it's just the way it goes. And yeah, I mean, when you bring in a guy like Luke Whippler, and you're in that situation with Nick Harris, it's like, yeah, I think at some point it's kind of the end of the line and you have to just move on.
Yeah, for sure. Now, as we're wrapping things up, we talked decent amount on guys we'd like to see on offense. Now on the defensive side of the ball, I know some names that come to mind for me. I want to see Siaki Ika. I want to see how he looks. That's a big thing for me is really seeing how he performs, even though it will be against backups. Another couple names. I want to see Ronnie Hickman. I know the Browns were interested in him, drafting him, but they signed him as a UDFA. I think there's a huge battle for that 4th safety spot between him, D'Anthony Bell, and another guy I want to see, Zach, our man Tanner McAllister. I want to see how those guys do because these guys are going to have a huge opportunity in front of them tomorrow night. And if you can go out, and again, you're playing against backups, but a lot of these guys that are trying to make the back end of the roster are going to be doing that. If you can go out and put in a good performance, you're going to make this roster. We saw it with D'Anthony Bell last year being the only Browns UDFA so far under Andrew Berry to make the roster. So who are some defensive players that you guys really want to see tomorrow night and curious on how they perform?
Outside of the guys you named, Siaki Ika, obviously Ronnie Hickman, Tanner McAllister, I'm very interested in seeing Isaiah McGuire as well. I want to see how he plays. That's one name that really stands out to me. I know on draft night, I mean,
he'll start. He should start actually.
Yeah. And we were very excited when we drafted him. Like, I mean, that could be a good depth piece. Let's see how he plays in a real game environment. That's one name I'm very excited to see.
Yeah, Cameron Mitchell is one that I saw, especially during camp. He actually was doing a lot of decent coverage, and he had a pick 6. I'm pretty sure.
Dude, he was in. Was he getting first team reps?
I think he was. It was against Deshaun. He got a pick 6 against Deshaun. I think he was. He might have even been covering DPJ. I'm pretty sure.
No, it was Amari.
Was it Amari? Okay.
Yeah.
All I remember was that it was on Deshaun, but he got a pick 6. It was a really nice cut. He really just like cut the edge, or not cut the edge. He cut the route and got in front of it. But I think that he could be a really. It's crazy just how many how good the corners look in practice because like they we just have way too many good corners. And it also was
Hey,
weird.
That's never a bad problem to
I
have.
know it's never a
Never.
bad problem,
Yeah.
but it was also weird because I was sitting there and I'm like, I forgot Greg Newsome is number 0 now. Like I'm so used to him being number 20, and it's like now he's just 0. It was kind of weird.
Also, Jack, can you buy any of the new jerseys yet? Can I go buy an Elijah Moore jersey at training camp because I can't find?
I didn't
the
see
Browns
any.
haven't
I did
released.
not see them.
Dude, this is getting ridiculous. We're now in preseason, and I can't go buy a Greg Newsome, a Juan Thornhill, and a lot. I can't go buy a jersey. Like what? Get your act together, Browns.
I don't know what they're doing.
Come on, Jack. Jack, you're the season ticket holder, man.
It's not me. I can't do anything about it.
You got connections. Let's make it happen.
Oh, please. What do you mean? I get just as many painters hats as everyone else. Like, Jimmy Haslam doesn't care.
He cares about the Columbus Crew at least.
Yeah,
I'll take
and
that.
The Milwaukee Bucks.
I'll take that. Hey, this is true. I will say, before we wrap things up, some guys that really have an opportunity to stake a claim to make the roster. You know JOK is not playing. Anthony Walker, Steely Taki, Tony Fields, and Mohamed Diabate have a huge opportunity to make the roster tomorrow because they are going to play a lot.
Yeah.
A lot tomorrow. Keep in mind, the Browns gave Mohamed Diabate $250,000 in guaranteed cash. They clearly saw something that they liked, even though the dude graded out so poorly, according to Pro Football Focus, that I don't know why you'd have any interest in this kid. But anyway, he has the opportunity of making the roster. Like, play well tomorrow night. Tony Fields has an opportunity. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how things go tomorrow night. Do you guys care to give a score prediction, or we just, do we not care enough?
Oh my gosh. I don't care enough. I just want to watch some Browns football, have some fun. I don't care enough. I just want to see DTR play so bad, man. DTR, Cedric Tillman. That's all I care about.
Browns 31, Jets 21.
Ooh.
24. How about that?
Dude, that's a high-scoring preseason game. I think the Browns.
Yeah, man, it's the Hall of Fame game. They don't
dude, I think the Browns score 17 points and the Jets scored 13.
It's gonna be crazy.
Zach Wilson season, baby. It's back. What about 51? Oh yeah, you're talking about Jordan Kunizensky or something.
Yeah.
And I can't pronounce his name. Rich, I say this, he has a good shot making the roster because one, he's actually been a starter throughout camp with all the injuries over the other guys that we have on the roster. So Schwartz likes him. Also, he plays special teams. 42. Dude, if the Browns put up 42 in a preseason game, then we're winning the Super Bowl. Oh my goodness. 23-7. Okay, I don't see a lot of points scored in a preseason game. I just don't. But by the way, if you guys want some inside info, just bet on the Ravens to win every preseason game, and you'll probably end up making some money because the Ravens never lose in the preseason, apparently.
Watch them go 0-3 this year.
Yeah, and then if you lose money, well, it sucks. You listen to me. All right. As we're wrapping things up, Jack, today's homage read, Jack, what would you say? You know what? I'm not even going to ask you a question. Just tell me something about homage you like.
Well, so obviously, guys, the Hall of Fame game's tomorrow, and then the induction is later on this week. And there's already we already saw that cool shirt, the cool Hall of Fame game T-shirt, but also there's a shirt on there that I actually just saw, and it's for a guy who should have already been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Joe Thomas is there, but Clay Matthews should also be in the Hall of Fame. This is a fact. They have a sick shirt over on Homage. Just paying homage to one of the great Cleveland Browns legends of all time. And I mean, the fact that he's not in the NFL Hall of Fame just doesn't really make any sense to me. But maybe you're not into repping old Browns players. They have any design you want. Yeah, they got Cavs, they got Browns. Even last week I was wearing the Cleveland Crunch, an old indoor soccer team that no one cares about anymore. But I care about it, and Homage knows that, and they give you that sick option to be able to buy that stuff. They have cool designs, pop culture, any team you want, any design, T-shirts, hoodies, They even got shorts. They got sweatshorts if you really want some sweatshirts. It's hot outside. You're probably going to be outside watching Browns practices at training camp. You need to have a bunch of different wardrobes, bunch of different homage gear for any situation. So go over to our Twitter, use our link, and you get cool deals, and it helps the channel out. So if you want to get some cool homage stuff, use the link. It benefits us, benefits you. Everyone wins.
And they just dropped a brand new Joe Thomas shirt.
Did they?
So, yeah.
How did I not see that?
Super.
I'm usually so on top of it.
No, I'm upset that I didn't see this. So now I'm going to actually pull it up right now. All right. That's what we're going to do. So those of you that are...
Let me drop the link before.
Well, what I'll do, I'll actually pull it up so everyone can see it. Oh, dude. Okay. All right. Well, it was nice having money in my life.
I can't. I don't know why I can't find it.
Here's the Joe Thomas one.
Oh yeah, that's sick.
Oh well, it was until I got the 15% off offer.
15% off.
That's actually that's a sick shirt, dude. That's
yeah.
I still haven't even
buy it.
I still haven't even used my gift card yet, so might have to take advantage. I'm also waiting for the Ohio State gear to drop too, and it hasn't dropped yet, man. So I'm just waiting. Also, shout out to you, Jack. You're the GOAT of homage of spokesman.
I try my best.
Hey, that's your future, dude.
There you go, dude.
Ad reads? Yeah.
Yep, ad reads for homage. Seriously, Jack's going to be doing this for the rest of his life. Homage athletic apparel ad reads. Gonna be 70 years old. He's gonna be 90 years old, about ready to croak, and he's still gonna be doing an homage ad read. Love it, dude. I love it. As we're wrapping up, guys, anything else you want to add?
I'm just excited. Football's back tomorrow, dude. Like game.
Yeah, thank God.
Even though like this game is kind of, I mean, let's call it what it is, kind of a joke game.
It's an exhibition.
Yeah. It's nice
crazy, but I just like watching football, especially Browns football. So thank God we can finally get back to doing what we love, watching football and doing nothing else productive.
Hey man, that's what fall is all for. Really is. That's what fall is for. Watching football all day, every day.
Yes,
Thank you, NFL Sunday Ticket. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun year, that's for sure. But anyways, guys,
and for my fiance Ansley, it's for pumpkin cream cold brews.
I can't. I tried it once, and it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not a huge pumpkin fan.
Pumpkin cream cold brews are good, dude. I recommend it.
No, I've tried it actually. It's not bad.
It's
not bad. Yeah. It's good. Hey man, just wait till that peppermint mocha comes out in November.
Now you lost me.
Nah, that's it right there. Or the ginger. All right, we don't need to go on Starbucks. We don't need to get
Starbucks coffee, dude.
Yeah, there's like
not sponsored.
No, we're not sponsored by Starbucks. I mean, if they want to sponsor me and give me like lifetime free coffee, I mean, sure.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
All right, guys. But as we're wrapping up, be sure to drop a like on tonight's video. And again, subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216. Very easy to do. For everyone that's in the chat right now, if you're not yet subscribed, it's right there on your screen. You can just click the button, subscribe to the channel. We do have the Dog Chug coming up in less than an hour here at 10 o'clock on the Network 216 YouTube channel. Be sure to check out also the Discord. The link is in the YouTube description for you guys to check that out. You can join for free, kind of get the layout, see what it's like, see some of the content we provide. And then if you decide you want to join, only $10 a month, you get free betting. You get, not free betting slips. You get betting slips. You also get latest updates on rumors regarding the Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Ohio State recruiting updates, which are coming a lot more recently. So you guys want to make sure you don't miss any of that content. We appreciate all of you tuning into this episode of the Faithful Dogs Podcast, a Network 216 production. We can't wait to talk to you all again next week. And go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.
Like, comment, sub, check out the Discord, and homage.